You ever notice how being tired has somehow become a personality? Like, if you're not exhausted, not overwhelmed, and not constantly busy, it almost feels like you're doing something wrong. Somewhere along the way, we stopped asking, am I happy? And started asking, am I doing enough? The truth is, we live in a world that quietly rewards burnout, and no one really even realizes it's happening. See, long hours are always praised, and rest feels guilty, and doing nothing, well, that just feels uncomfortable. There's always something that you could be doing. You could be improving, optimizing, or fixing things, and at first it feels productive, like you're building something and becoming someone, but over time it just becomes exhausting. See, burnout doesn't arrive all at once. It's subtle. It's waking up tired, even after sleeping, and it's losing interest in things that you used to enjoy. It's feeling like everything is effort, and the scary part is, it just starts to feel normal, because everyone around you is the same. Everyone's tired, and everyone's busy, and everyone's just pushing through, so you don't stop and question it, you just keep going. In the modern day, there's one subtle reason for why burnout feels unavoidable these days, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. A massive part of burnout comes from what we've been taught, typically what I like to call hustle culture, and just constant unrelenting pressure. You have this drilled into you from young to work harder, stay disciplined, and stay consistent. And of course, these things aren't bad virtues to have, but somewhere along the way, they just became a little too extreme, because now it's waking up at 5 a.m. and optimizing your morning routine, tracking everything you eat and do, and maximizing every hour. Your life has just become a system, with every minute having a purpose, and if it doesn't, it feels wasted. But you're not a machine. And I am certainly not a machine. I would say I definitely have experienced burnout of some sort. Not your typical sort in an occupation or a job. But for me, being just 21, I would definitely say my type of burnout that I've experienced was one in my educational background. So I guess you could call it educational burnout. See, I remember especially feeling burnt out just after finishing my A-levels, and even after finishing my uni course just last summer. See, these things take so much of our time, our worries, and we stress over them, and we work hard. Most of us work hard. We want to achieve, we want to do well, and these things, they do require lots of hard work, but my gosh, afterwards you feel completely drained. I just wanted a break, completely needed a break afterwards, and I could not bear to think of another piece of work, another essay, another lab to complete. You just sort of want to do nothing. You feel drained and can think of anything but your work. And I just remember having a deep sense of thinking, I need a break right now, when I was on the cusp of finishing those things. And obviously, luckily, you do get a break. In the case of A-levels, you get a lovely long summer until uni. But after uni, you're just in the real world. You need to find a job either pretty soon, or do what some other people do and go travelling, which I reckon would be a great remedy for burnout, by the way. So if you're experiencing that after uni, maybe give it a try. I didn't, but you definitely could. But I really want to say the interesting thing is, the system is clearly expecting all of that experience I just explained, because after that most intense period of work, your exams at the end of A-levels, or your exams at the end of your degree, your dissertation, you're given the longest break, time to reset and to breathe. So why does that suddenly disappear in real life? It is really strange, and I would personally say a problem with modern work culture, because in most jobs there is no real reset, just small pockets of time off, scattered across the year, but no true release after pressure, no moment where you can fully switch off and recover. So what happens? The pressure doesn't leave, it just stacks over weeks, months and years on top of you, until one day you don't feel motivated anymore, and not because you're lazy, but just simply because you're exhausted. And adding to this work culture, there's this quiet expectation now that I feel like is going around, and I really want to nip it in the bud and try and tell you guys that it's not entirely true. And this expectation is that you should be doing everything perfectly, which is including your work, your health, your day-to-day routines, and your social life. It has to be completely balanced and entirely optimized. And that's where this particular quote hit me. I was watching a TikTok and it said, "And now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good." Because burnout doesn't just come from doing too much. It comes from feeling like whatever you do isn't enough. And by simply stopping trying to be perfect, once you eliminate that, you allow yourself the space to be good at whatever you're doing. Because trying to be perfect invites stress and pressure. And if anything, it can make you really fall short of perfect. So by eliminating that perfectionist mindset, you can finally be good at what you're trying to do. And it's a very unique way of looking at it, because it's essentially saying, don't try hard, or don't try your hardest, but you will still do better than if you were to try hard. So it's just a unique, different look at it from a different perspective. And I think it could help people, because pressure and stress can affect everyone's performance in all sort of facets of life. So give it a try and let me know how it goes. Now I want to go into the reasons that if you've been feeling constantly tired lately, this is probably why. And my simple answer for you is social media. It just doesn't help. You're constantly seeing these day in the life videos with perfect routines and clean schedules, and everything just seems to flow effortlessly, which isn't like a typical life, because what you don't see is just how much pressure that creates. It makes you feel like your life should look like that too, being structured, efficient and optimized. But real life isn't like that at all, and trying to force it to be is just plain right exhausting. So, as a result of this, here's a thought that I've been sitting with recently, and it really makes sense to me, so just let me know if it resonates with you too. And my question to you is, what if the answer isn't to optimize your life more, but instead to de-optimize parts of it? Because not everything needs to be efficient, and not everything needs to be productive or more productive. Your work, yeah, fair enough, maybe that needs good structure and productivity, but your free time and your social life and your evenings, they don't need to be systems and have particular workflows to them. They can be messy and unplanned and slow. Have you ever had a lovely slow morning on the weekend, getting up much later than you were supposed to, having a late brunch? It just feels right sometimes to stop, feel more present. You reduce your stress, and the rest of your day just feels a lot more pleasant. And this is just because when everything becomes optimized, it usually starts to feel like work, and we don't want to work all the time. That's why we all live for the weekends. So I am urging you to try certain aspects of your life, de-optimize them, and see what it does for you. And let's just add, I don't think burnout is just about work. You really can be burnt out socially and emotionally, heck, even mentally. You stop replying to messages and don't feel like going out anymore. because these small things just feel draining to you. I've felt this before. Social burnout is a real thing. Don't shrug it off. If you're experiencing it, just work through it. Talk to people you feel comfortable to about it, and your spark will come back eventually. I promise. Because when things like talking feel like effort, everything else becomes completely heavy. And that is usually the signal that instead of needing to push harder, something in the system needs to ease. And yeah, I would just suggest that you do that. Because remember when I said that there's one reason why burnout feels unavoidable these days? This is that reason, that when it hits you, it feels like nowadays everyone has this thought that you just need to push harder, push through it. Even I mentioned it. When I was starting to feel burnt out during my exams, I wanted to just push through it. And to be fair, I couldn't have just stopped, otherwise I would have stopped studying for my exams and I probably would have done a lot worse on them. But it definitely made me feel worse after. So something I maybe could have done was take a break one day, do something I enjoyed, in order just to reset for the next day of studying. So when I say, take a full rest, reset, maybe it's just an afternoon, maybe it's just a coffee date, maybe it's just chatting to a friend on the phone. Any of these things will just give your brain that reset. It will stop you from pushing through it and just give you that chance to get that ease that you truly need. So I'll just leave you with this thought. Maybe the goal isn't to do more, and maybe it's to remove the pressure from the things that were never meant to have it. You really don't need to optimize your entire life. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to earn your rest. Sometimes being good enough is what actually keeps you going. And I just want to say, if this resonated with you, just take a second and think, what's one part of your life you can try to de-optimize this week? Leave it in the comments and I'll reply to you, because I might even take inspiration. So please do, give me some inspiration, guys, come on. Thank you so much for watching this video and getting to the end of it. If you've reached this part of the video, comment finished and I will reply to you and give you a quote from my philosophy book that I'm reading at the moment. So I just want to say, leave a like, subscribe, and of course, comment, join the Discord so we can create a community together. So, as I always say, I'll see you in the next.